Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Closers Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Alvarado. Today, I have a very special guest. I always have special guests, but today he's a really special guest because he's from the other side of the fucking world. His name's Jonathan Noack. He's a co-host of Was Gesund Ist, a Swiss-German podcast. Welcome.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So, really quick before we move on, the podcast, where can people find it? What is it about?
It's called Was Gesund Ist, as you said. It's basically just a friend of mine from Berlin, Germany, and we just meet up every week and talk about what's going on and discuss new music or new funny things we saw on the internet or recipes we try to cook, just like everyday stuff.
Nice. So it's just a peering into your friendship, basically.
Yeah, basically. The
That's
idea
cool.
was that we said, when I came here to Sweden, we said, we want to stay in contact and try to call now and then. And then we thought, we could just do a podcast and record basically what we would talk to each other about. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, how's the reception been? Because like you said, it's only been going on since you were in Gothenburg, which is where we met, and we were going to talk about that in a second. But how's the reception been for the podcast? How's the fan base?
It's growing like crazy. No, but the reception is astonishingly good. Actually, we the numbers are not huge, but we get a lot of feedback for the episodes. I think it's the same with your podcast. People react to it, or people write, I had the same experience or the same memories as you guys, or try this, try that. And that's very cool to see people taking part in or listening to the stuff and react to it.
It is very cool. And what's interesting too is because you have a background in like radio, right? Like you worked at like a radio station in a college or something, correct?
Yeah, I worked for a radio station in Switzerland before I came here.
And are you using a lot of the knowledge that you learned there during the production of your show?
I learned how to cut audio and how to use these programs, but it's a different thing. It's not for the podcast, I don't do research on topics, or I don't do interviews with people I don't know or something like that. But it's kind of the same thing. You produce content where people speak about topics. So, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, no, it's really cool, and it's funny because my mom, she listens to your guys' podcast even though she doesn't know what's happening. But whenever you guys are laughing, she just starts laughing too.
So it's just like German. So
it's very infectious. You guys are very infectious people. Whatever you guys are feeling, other people feel it too. It's really funny. But yeah, check out his podcast, Was Gesund Ist. It's on Spotify.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, right?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
Sick. Yes. So let's see, because we met, obviously I went on exchange in Sweden in the beginning of the year. He was there as well, and that's where we met. But I believe we met at this little pub or this little like bar called Soho Beer House,
Soho
right?
Beer House,
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. It was really crazy because like I didn't know anybody in the friend group at the time. That was the first time I met most of them, and like Jonathan came late to the bar.
Yeah.
And like one of our other friends left and he took her place, and I was like, damn, who is this guy? Like he's like talking about his podcast and stuff, and I was just like, this guy probably, if I tell him about my podcast, he'll probably think I'm a scrub or something. Like he'll be like, get out of here.
It was so funny because we were talking and you introduced yourself to me, I think, and you said, I'm from the States, and Marco, and then somehow the topic was the podcast, and you said, I have a podcast too, like and I thought, okay, maybe everyone from California has his own podcast. That's maybe just a thing. And then
that's hella funny.
It was cool.
Yeah, it's always funny looking back and like hearing what the first impression of you was like. It's just funny, but no, I honestly don't know anybody else who has their own podcast. That's the thing. Like, I've met a couple people over the internet, but I've never met anybody in person who's like, I also have a podcast. We have this schedule. This is like our strategy. This is what we're trying to do. Like, I've never met anybody like that. So it was really cool to connect with somebody like that.
Yeah, and I was blown away when I saw that you had like 40 episodes already out there.
Oh, really?
With a crazy lot of guests.
Oh yeah.
I was impressed.
Would you guys?
I still am impressed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I know. I'm impressed by you guys too. No, it's really cool just to see how you guys have grown so quickly with your podcast. Are you guys thinking about doing guests too, having guests on it?
Yeah, we want to do that definitely. Yeah, and we actually had 2 people. Like already, we asked them, and it was fixed. Because my friend, he's also from Switzerland originally. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to go back and then meet them there, not just for the podcast, but he was in Switzerland anyway, or would have been. Because of the COVID-19 madness, he couldn't go. So
what an unfortunate situation, huh?
We're still waiting for the first guest on our podcast.
So you're still in Sweden currently?
I'm still in Sweden.
Okay. And I obviously am back home in America. Let's talk about how that whole thing, like, because we left on a trip to the north fucking bumfuck nowhere out in Sweden called the Lapland area, but we went to Abisko. That's like the little township that we were in.
With 100 inhabitants.
Yeah. And 100 moose, apparently.
Yeah.
But we went there. Before we left, there was just like, oh yeah, Italy's pretty crazy right now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Okay, like our mutual friend Flavio was freaking out, but everyone else was like, okay, it's just Italy, being Italy, it's whatever. But then, in the middle of the trip, everyone started to realize, oh shit, like, it's getting serious. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, it was. I had the same impression. Like, we went there, and no one thought about it really. It was a topic, we talked about it, but it was not like affecting us in any way.
Yeah.
And then during this trip, everyone started to check his mobile phones for messages from home, and you saw like every morning I opened Twitter and it was like, oh, this event is cancelled, NBA is cancelled, I don't know, NASCAR is cancelled. Like you just had a list of stuff that got cancelled during 3 days or something like that. And then it escalated really fast.
Yeah, it did. The one thing I'll remember like that totally changed my perception, other than me being told I had to come home, was the bus rides. How different our bus ride up to Lapland, because it's a 24-hour bus ride. It's not just like 3 hours and we're there. Like, Sweden is a super big country, super long country, so it took a whole day of straight driving basically to get to this spot. So the drive up there, everyone was so happy and excited. Jonathan was recording stuff on his GoPro. Everyone's going like really pumped. And then the ride back, like a girl broke her leg, like like all this crazy shit happened, and like we had to wait. Like no one knew what was happening. Like everyone, people were crying. Like it was ridiculous. Like
and we got like, I think it was on the ride back that. You knew that you're going home.
Yeah.
And some people from France were also deciding on leaving.
The Canadians too.
Oh yeah, the Canadians too. So it was kind of everywhere this whole COVID-19.
Yeah. And I think what was most interesting or the hardest part was like everybody realizing like, okay, this was the last time we were gonna like be able to all spend time together and kind of just hang out. And nobody realized it until the bus ride. We were like, fuck. But even on the bus ride, there were some people who didn't realize it either, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But other than the pandemic, which we will get back to, how has your experience in Gothenburg been, like, on exchange? Even though it hasn't been the most ideal such circumstances. But how's that been?
Yeah, it was like, it started really, really great. I mean, Gothenburg in winter, maybe we have to explain. It's just the days are quite short, so and it's cold and it's raining all the time. I think we had, before we went to Lapland, we had 2 weeks of just rain
and snow too,
where we didn't see the sun at all.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the time here in Gothenburg, just getting to know a new city. Or a new country. Maybe you have to explain that, but Switzerland is not the same as Sweden. A lot of people mix it up. It's not the same thing.
It's true. They're very different places. Very different.
But it was cool to like get to know this place, get to know like bars or cool cafes, or we went to this concert together, and like get to know a new city and the vibe of the city, and like in some ways how the people are. I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoy being close to the sea. I didn't have that before, and I enjoyed just to be able to get to the water so quickly.
Yeah, that is something that I didn't really realize, how close to the coast we were in Gothenburg. It's pretty crazy. It sucks that, you know, my time got cut short and a lot of other people's time got cut short, but it's cool that you're still there and you're able to. You just were on an island off the coast.
Yeah, we were on an island for a week. I think it was already a week ago. Yeah.
Wow.
That was cool, and it was so close. Like we had 40 minutes from my home to the island, so it's 20-minute bus ride and then the ferry, a small ferry that took us there.
Wow. Yeah, that's
it's so
very
close. It's crazy, and you feel like you're away in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. Was it when you're on the island? Was there a lot of people around, or did you kind of like, were you able to walk in one direction and not see anybody for a long time?
No, there were some people around. I mean, on this island, the particular one we went, were I think 700 inhabitants and a small shop. So you kind of saw other people, but you could also go for a run. I went for a run once with our friend Max.
Yeah,
and I think we didn't see anyone for an hour, because it had a second island to it without any houses, or just a nature reserve, and we were alone there.
That's interesting.
But the weather was not that great, so maybe that was part of the reason.
Maybe, yeah. That's really cool. I'm really jealous of the fact that you're able to do that and go to a different, like a little island off the coast and stuff. That's really cool. And also to just spend time with all the friends and stuff, be able to just kick it. That's awesome. It looked like you guys had a lot of fun. And you had one of the guys from Lapland who we met, Thomas, he also was there, right? He joined?
Yeah, he joined. That was so cool.
Yeah.
To see him again. And yeah, also I on the island I realized that in Lapland I like didn't get to know him that well, because we were always so many people together and there was always something going on. Yeah. And on the island we had so much time, and it was really cool.
I feel like that's the one thing I'm going to remember the most about my exchange, is just getting to know so many different people. Not even like the place. Like the places, obviously, I'm gonna remember Lapland and like when we went to Malmo and all that stuff. But like meeting people and getting to know other people and hearing other people's point of views culturally, I feel like that was the coolest part. What do you feel about that? Do you agree, or do you have like a different thing you're gonna take away?
No, I totally agree with that. And also, before I came here, my like horizon was Switzerland and Germany, where I'm like, I know what's going on and I read some stuff in the news and stuff. But since I'm here, I realized that Europe is such a small place. Like there are so many people from so many different nations here, and then you have people from the States, from Canada, from Australia, and you realize like how small, or like the differences are not that big. Yeah. So like people from the States are kind of very close to us when it comes to music, when it comes to culture, and that's really interesting to get to know these people and get to talk to them, and kind of feel how close or how far away some places are.
No, that's very true. I agree with that too. I mean, before I left, I mean, obviously I never even set foot outside of the States. The furthest place I'd ever been was Boston, and that was only for a weekend prior. So it was really cool going to Sweden and meeting so many people. And I realized like kind of like halfway through that a lot of people kind of stuck with people from their own country that they were comfortable with, and they didn't really branch out and like hung out with people from different countries or different cultures. So the fact that our friend group had like a person from Greece, a person from Finland, like 2 people from Switzerland, like 3 German people, like an American, an Italian, like, or actually 2 Italians at a time, like just the different cultures kind of blending together, and everybody realizing cool. Like, oh, like we can all like there's literally nothing weird about this at all. Like it was really cool.
How was it for you coming to Europe? Did you like have some kind of a culture shock? Like, did you have the impression that people from Europe are different than people from the States? Or
at first, I did feel that way. I felt like people in Europe just kind of like saw me and instantly knew, oh, this guy's a fucking American. Like, I felt that way, but that's just insecurity. That's not because they really knew or not. It's just all insecurity on my part. But as I got to know people, and as I got to know you and everybody else in the group, like our friend group, and even people that were just acquaintances in the beginning of my time, like I realized there's really no difference at all other than just maybe accents. And I realized...
Sorry for my funny Swiss accent.
Oh, no, you're fine. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the one thing I realized is that I realized that, like, once I told people, like, oh, I'm American, and they could hear that I speak English very well, like, at that point, a lot of people would tell me, like, oh, I'm so sorry for my accent, or I'm sorry that I'm not really good at English, so I'm sorry. Like, people became self-conscious about themselves when I told them that. So it's like, that put me at ease because I was like, okay, I'm not the only one scared now. Like, everybody is kind of scared to interact because they don't want to come off as, like, dumb. But you just got to have to do it. But, like, before I left for Europe, I had the impression that, like, people wouldn't really like me because I was American. But no one really cared, like, at all, at least for that I know of. So, like, it was cool to know that, like, because, like, over here, everyone's like, be careful in Europe. They don't like They don't like Americans. They won't serve you and stuff. But the only place that I've heard that it's that way, like from the people there, is France. So as long as like I don't go to France, or I have to learn French. I have to learn French before I go to France. But yeah, it was a really cool experience, and I really enjoyed it. I really want to go back. I never wanted to leave. So yeah. What just came to my mind when we spoke about Lapland, like you were the first one I think that knew you would have to go home. Yeah, I was the first one. And every one of us was like, what? You go home? Why? No one could think of it, like people going home. Yeah. And 2 days later, like half of the whole group decided to leave. Yeah. So, like, in the first place, it was no one could imagine going home. And then 2 days later, it was... Everyone's going home. Yeah. It was weird, too, because, like, I was the first one to find out, but... I lasted longer than a lot of people who didn't even realize that they were going home at the time. Yeah. That was kind of funny. Or like people who were like, I'm never going home. That's not even an option. And then a week later, they're already back home. It's pretty funny. But yeah, speaking of Lapland, I want to talk about that place specifically because it's such a weird place. Like it's looking back, it's very interesting how it's just like, at least when we went, there was just snow everywhere. I've never been in a place like that where it's just like you could walk for miles on end and there's just snow piled on top of each other. But also like the activities we did. So like we did the ice bath. So we went in a sauna and then we jumped into ice. And like, could you talk about that? Did you ever do anything like that before you went to Sweden? I didn't. I think I didn't jump into an ice bath. I was in Iceland 2 years ago, where we went, like just in a river. Mm-hmm. That was really cold. But this ice thing, that was cool. I was so crazy to be in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. There was a small building with a sauna in it. I mean, that's crazy for itself. And then like 50 meters away, there was a hole in the lake. A frozen lake. Yeah, a frozen lake. And you could go in there to cool down. And that was like the whole activity. It's like, okay, you're going to go into the sauna. You're going to sweat like a motherfucker. And then you're going to run. You're going to literally run down this hill where you're like trip. I tripped a couple times. I like hurt my knee really bad. You've run down this icy hill onto this frozen lake and jump into this little like hole of like ice water, and you have to stay there. But you had to go with somebody. I went with Jonathan the first time, and I borrowed our friend's Max his shoes because I didn't have any like shoes to wear, and I like lost both in the ice or in the snow because like I just dug my feet way too deep, and like I pulled out my foot and the shoe was just gone. And I was like, fuck. And so I found one of them, and I lost the second one. And I just remember going back into the sauna, and Max was like, was it good? And I was like, oh, it was fine, but I lost one of your shoes. And
he was not very happy.
No, he was not happy. He was like, are you... He was like, oh, God damn it. I could tell he didn't want to lend me anything after that, but he found his shoe.
Yeah, we found it. It was fine. but that was like, yeah. How was the sauna for you? Was it it was the day after we went to the sauna in the hotel itself?
Yeah. The sauna is a very interesting experience. Very interesting experience. But I must say, it wasn't like, it was really cool. Like, I felt rejuvenated after. Like, I was ready to go to sleep after. I was like, all right, like this is a good way to end the day. Just like how you explained it, where you sweat everything out. Like there's a lot of toxins and stuff in your body that in America, like in the saunas aren't really a thing. At least maybe people that go to the gym, but outside of that, like you don't really hear people just going to a sauna just to go to a sauna. But that's a really interesting cultural difference between. I think that's just all of Europe, right? Or is it something that...
Yeah, I think it's more in the northern parts of Europe.
Is it?
Where I'm from, I know some people that have a sauna, but it's not that common. Like in Finland, everyone has a sauna.
Oh, yeah.
And you even, if you take a normal ferry with your car, there is a sauna you can use on the ferry. And like, yeah, there is a sauna everywhere, I think, when you go to Finland. And I think Sweden and Norway, you have them in hotels and hostels.
That's interesting.
But it's not that common. There is a free sauna in Gothenburg, but we didn't go there. We went there after we came back from Lapland.
Yeah.
That's a cool place. It's still open. That's the coolest thing about it.
That's crazy.
And it's so cool. I can send you a picture. It's like literally built in the water.
Uh-huh.
And you have a big window in the sauna where you can see all the whole harbor of Gothenburg.
Really?
It's really nice.
That's crazy. Yeah, where is that by? Is it you have to cross the bridge?
Yeah, you go over the bridge, and then just after you're on the other side, it's on the left. Like 5 minutes.
Nice. So there's something that we did while we were I was in Sweden, while we were both in Sweden at the same time, and that was eating a lot of pizza.
Oh yeah,
we ate a lot of pizza.
You had a lot of pizza.
I had a lot of pizza, but you were there for most of the pizza nights.
Yeah, true.
So let's talk about like the college and like the into Snapchat and all that stuff, because there's so much like funny shit that's happened with that.
Yeah, that's thing. Its own cultural dimension, basically.
So let's explain what that is, if you will.
It's the university we're at. They have a group that organizes activities and brings people together that are on exchange, and also some people from Sweden. And this group organization thing, they have a Snapchat account, and every week a different student gets to post stuff on Snapchat. And so Marco was so-called student of the week, and had the glorious idea to review pizza places. And I think you went to 8 different places.
We went to 8 different places in the course
Flavio
of a week.
still says, I cannot have pizza.
Dude, it was crazy. Technically, we went to 9 because we went to Pepe's in Norway.
Oh, yeah, true.
So technically there was 9 pizza places. But we went... A lot of people got annoyed with me because we weren't going to like good pizza places.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is what people are telling me is good. Like people are saying Sonic Gardens is good. People are saying that like Slice of New York is good. Like Bjorn told me that Slice of New York was good. Like all these people. But then other people are like, that's not even a good place. You got to go to this place. It's like there's different standards of what's good in pizza in Europe, apparently. There's a lot of pizza in Europe.
Yeah.
I realize that Swedes, at least people from Swedes in our generation, generally just eat American food. They eat like burgers, pizza, and like what else? Like pasta. And like sandwiches. That's it. Like I didn't. Everybody that I talked to there was like, nobody was like, oh, you got to try this classic like Swedish dish. Nobody did that. Nobody said that to me.
But I think Sweden has a crazy pizza culture. Like they don't serve the normal Italian pizza that we know, or they just destroy it with kebab kebab meat and crazy
Kebab
sauce.
Yeah. Oh my god. That was the funniest thing. And one of the craziest things is that they don't cut it for you. Like they don't cut the pizza for you.
Do you cut the pizza? When you order a pizza, you get it cut?
It's pre-cut.
Oh, no, I never had that.
What? Oh, so that's a
No.
Europe thing. Okay.
I think in Sweden they cut it most of the times.
Really? No, we had to cut it every time.
Really?
Remember at Cafe Magazine?
Yeah, it's true. Cafe Magazine, we had to cut it, but yeah.
That's why I ate all my pizza and then taco. I just folded it and just ate it like a calzone.
Oh yeah,
because I just didn't want to deal with the cutting and.
Yeah, Magazzino is also not cut.
Yeah, Magazzino's good.
But when I ordered Domino's last week here, and they cut it. That's quite
interesting.
unusual.
That's very interesting. That is one thing. Domino's and Pizza Hut in Sweden are far better over there. Dude.
I remember when you went to Pizza Hut, you were blown away.
Dude, Pizza Hut over there is like a full-blown restaurant. Like, they'll seat you. There's a waitress that comes up to your table asking, like a Pizza Hut here, you just walk in and you're just like, you go up to the counter, I want this pizza. You wait for like 10 minutes, you get it, you walk out. Like, there's no eating at a Pizza Hut. No one stays to eat at a Pizza Hut here. And it's not good pizza. But over there, it's like, this is pretty good. Like, it's on par with like Pepe's Pizza, like where we went to, or it's on par for here. Here, it's like, I don't know. It's like Round Table. It's like it's pretty good pizza you can get. Like it's on par with that. So it's a very interesting cultural thing. But I must say, I had the best pizza in my entire life in Sweden when we
which
went.
Place?
Magazzino.
Oh yeah,
that was the best pizza the entire time. I may or may not have been a little intoxicated while I was eating it, but I was saying the entire time, like with every bite, I was like, "This is amazing." Like, I can't believe that I'm eating something this good right now. It was very, very good. But I will still say that even though Sweden has the best pizza I've ever eaten in my life, America still has the best quantity of good pizza in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Italy. Italy, you invented pizza, but we perfected pizza. So that's... I know Flavio's going to hear that and be a little annoyed. He's going to rant about that for a while. Give him something to think
Unbelievable. This is disgusting.
Disgusting. Oh, I love that guy.
I cannot believe.
I love you, Flavio. Like, as you can say. As they can say. Yeah. But yeah, going back to the Into Snapchat stuff, it was really fun to do that because not only, like... our friend group had the most people in the Into Snapchat. Like, we got the Snapchat for like 4 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know why. They just kept giving it to people in our group. So we constantly were just on the Snapchat just every week. And I bet people just got, like, used to seeing us on there so often. It was funny. Because, like, at least during my week, I know it was different because of COVID during your week. Because I think yours was last week. But, like, I'd be going around, like, the events and stuff, and people were like, oh, so how's the pizza going? Like,
oh, cool.
People would just ask me about that. So it was really funny. But, yeah, it's funny how, like, we just kept getting it time and time again.
I think Max was the week after you, or 2 weeks later?
2 weeks later, because there was girl during Lapland.
Oh, yeah. And then he did this, look who's back. It's Marco, the pizza guy.
I know. I made a cameo appearance during his week. It was super funny. So, what do you think about the culture of Sweden? Like, as people, like, what have you noticed about it that is kind of different from Switzerland?
You mean with all the other, like, our friend group and the exchange students, or people from Sweden?
I mean, like, people from Sweden, like Swedes culturally, like.
Yeah. I think they're not that different from us. I mean, I thought I'm gonna meet more people from Sweden. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of Swedes at the university, they didn't really care about us.
Yeah.
Because they have their own groups, their own friends. And yeah, of course, I get the point why they're not looking to be best friends with exchange students that rotate every half year. But I think what is really interesting about Sweden is that they are quite, they're very friendly everywhere you go.
Yeah.
They would never give you a hard time about literally anything.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's very hard to get to know them and to like dig a little deeper who they are or what they care about.
Yeah.
And that surprised me in a way. I thought it's easier to get to know people or to to get their interests and know what they like or what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's interesting. And at the same time, the Swedish like politics and the society, they're very progressive.
Yeah.
I mean, you see most of the toilets are gender neutral. Even at the university, even in restaurants, you don't have separate toilets. And culturally, they're very progressive at the same time.
Yeah. I do agree with you with that. They're very shy, or not very shy, but they're just more quiet to themselves.
Yeah, kind of reserved in some way.
Very reserved, and they are very nice. But as an American, that's very weird to me. Like,
yeah, you're kind of the opposite, are you?
Kind of. Like, people will be nice to you. They'll be nice to you with their words, but with their tone, with their body language, with their eyes, they'll make it known if they don't like you. Like, it's obvious. Whereas in Sweden, everyone's like very nice. But, like, there were a couple times...
You never know, yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple times where, like, I talked to somebody from a class. They're Swedish. I think, like, oh, we're cool. Like, or I'd see somebody at, like, at a bar who's also a student. We'd meet, talk. I think, okay, like, we're cool. Like, I see that person around. I say hi, and they just look at me, and they keep walking. Like, they don't want. So it's like, oh, I thought we were cool, but we're not. So I feel like a fucking dumbass because I said hi to you when I shouldn't have said hi to you. So it's just, like, those things are different. Like... It's harder to read them in every respect, even when they're being nice to you. Like, you don't know if they're, like, 100% real. Whereas, like, here, somebody will be like, hey, buddy, how are you? Just by the tone, you already know, okay, this person's kind of aggressive. Like, I need to maybe stay away from this person. They don't like me for some reason. So it's a little different. But that's at least something I realized while I was over there. I don't know if it's the same in Switzerland, but...
Yeah, I think we're quite similar to that. Swiss people are very nice and they talk to you and they like to get to know you. But to make friends when you move to Switzerland, I think it's quite hard.
Yeah.
Or you need to know someone that takes you to a birthday party or that takes you into a group. Then it's quite easy. But if you don't know anyone, it's gonna be maybe hard to like get into groups and people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also intimidating because everyone in Sweden looks like a fucking supermodel walking around. Both guys and girls, dude. They look straight out of the H&M catalog, like GQ shit. I was like, what the... And here I am walking around in just like sweatpants and a beanie. And like everyone's like combed hair, like straight suit, like tapered everything. I'm like, God damn. Like you're just going to class for like an hour and you're just like stepping out looking amazing. Going to a wedding. It's crazy. But I don't know if that's how it is in Switzerland too. Like, are people always dressed up? That's just how. Sweden?
But in general, I think you see. I think you see people in sweatpants in Switzerland, but most of the people kind of dress up when they go outside. But not. I think it's more in Sweden actually.
Is it?
And there are not that many people with blonde hair in Switzerland. I think that's a Swedish thing.
The blonde hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is true. Everyone's blonde and blue-eyed, and it's really interesting. It's really, yeah. But yeah, dude, everyone just looks like super professional all the time. I was like, man, I feel like I don't even belong here. Like just walking around by myself, I'm like, am I in the right college? Like,
but maybe that was a thing at our college, like because it's the business part of the college.
True. Yeah, it's a business
maybe that's
school.
Different when you go to the technical or science
or like the
departments.
art. Yeah, that is true. I didn't realize.
I don't know if the engineers are all also dressing up like that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I only went to like the humanities library
Oh, you were there?
times. A couple times
Yeah.
with 2 of our friends, and like everyone was dressed like pretty much the same as like the business, maybe a little less.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe culturally it's a little interesting because like in the States, everyone's just like, you go to class, like nobody is trying to dress up for class. Like everyone's just like in a t-shirt, jeans, sneakers,
Yeah.
hat.
Yeah, the
maybe.
same. I think that's in Switzerland when you go to the university, no one cares how you dress.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different when you work somewhere and have people around you or customers. But to go to university, you see a lot of people in sweatpants, actually.
Yeah. That's one of the most interesting things and the best parts about my experience studying abroad was like being able to talk to Swedes or just people in general when I would see a certain behavior like that, like people dressing up just to go to school.
Mm.
And I asked them, like, why do people do that? Like, what is that like a cultural thing, or is that just like, is that just Gothenburg, or is that just Handels, or is that just, but like to get those answers so quick, I feel like that was really invaluable because I was able to learn so much just about the little intricacies of a different culture.
Mm.
I think that's something you never get just by reading about stuff online or.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So with the pandemic and with COVID ramping up now, what are some changes you've seen in, we'll go Sweden first and then we'll go Europe overall and like maybe Switzerland specifically. So in Sweden, what changes have you seen?
I mean, Sweden is taking like a low-key approach to this whole Corona thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they for like university closed. That was the first thing, and they forbid events with more than 50 people. They started with 500 people, and then a few weeks later, 50 people, and that's like the only measure they took until now. So you can still go to restaurants, still go to bars, still have a cafe. Like all the shops are still open, like as normal. But I think you see a lot less people on the streets, and you see a lot less people in the shops and stuff. They have all reduced their opening hours because they have not a lot of customers these days. So I think you realize, or people from Sweden, they are being more careful themselves. It's not like they have to do it because it's a rule they have to follow, but you see a lot of people trying to have distance, not being close to each other. I think that's the most. That's the things I realized. But in general, life goes on like normal. You see,
Really?
you can go and have a drink wherever you want.
Oh, that's so crazy. I miss that, man. Oh, yeah, it's really, 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 to me, just like so fucking crazy how Sweden is the only country really that hasn't done basically hasn't done shit, and that's the place that we went to exchange.
Yeah.
Like that, like that is so insane to me. How
we could have gone anywhere else, and like everything would be like it is in the States or in Switzerland now. Everything closed down, and just Sweden is taking a different approach.
It's so crazy, dude. Like, it's just, it feels like I don't know, like I'm not a religious guy, but Easter's tomorrow, like something. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, man. It's just hard to know. But that is crazy that there's nothing happening. But I feel like going back to the cultural, this ties into the cultural thing. Like when the government of Sweden suggests for people to do something, people in
they
Sweden
follow
generally, they just follow it. Whereas in America, in Italy, France, Germany, I'm assuming also in Switzerland, the government suggests it. They're like, okay, it's a suggestion. I'm not gonna fucking do that. Like, who cares?
I read that someone compared it when in Sweden the government suggests something. That means the same when in the southern parts of Europe, like you put police in front of houses that tell you not to do something.
Yeah.
In Sweden, if people are very strict in following suggestions from the government because they trust them that they do the right thing.
God, yeah, that's trust. It bears down to trust. And that's something that, like, I don't know about in Europe. I'm assuming it's kind of the same, but in America, no one trusts the government for, like, anything at this point. It's so hard to trust. So
I mean, you're in a special situation in these years, I think.
God, yeah, we are.
Maybe during Obama, it was kind of different in some perspectives.
For some people.
Yeah.
For others, no.
Yeah, of course.
It was this way for just the other side. But yeah, that is crazy. And then in Switzerland, it's kind of the same. Like, as America, things are shut down.
Yeah, things are shut down. Schools, all the schools. Oh, in Sweden, the primary schools are still open.
Wow.
And they won't close them.
The baby schools.
Yeah, like until, I think, 10, until they're 10, something like that.
Really?
And in Switzerland, everything's closed, just like the essential shops. Grocery stores and pharmacies are open.
Wow.
And people work from home if it's possible. So it's like similar to the States, I think.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But that's another interesting thing about Sweden. They said they won't close the schools here because one reason for that is that in Sweden, in most of the families, both parents are working. So if you close the schools, you also like close part of the economy. People cannot go to work anymore or cannot work from home either. And I think that's different in most parts of Europe and also the States. Like oftentimes you have one parent just working part-time or being at home for the kids. And that's different in Sweden apparently.
And a lot of places in America, at least, have like transitioned to doing things online. Like school is now online for like most universities, and in Europe and in Sweden, and here too. Whereas like a lot of people who don't have non-essential jobs, they can transfer their work to online. So so that's allowed for a lot of people to like take care of their kids during this time. Whereas, like, maybe in Sweden, they're more reluctant to do that for other reasons. I don't know those reasons.
But I heard that a lot of people are working from home now. Like,
really?
All because the government suggested that people should work from home if they can. A lot of people do it.
Yeah. I feel like that's another really interesting cultural difference. Maybe America is more aligned with, like, Germany, Switzerland, and, like, even Finland in this way. But, like, our friend group is so diverse in different parts of the world aside from Sweden. Like we don't have people, we don't hang out with people from Sweden a lot, or at least we didn't. And so when this whole thing was popping off, everyone was like, what's going to happen? Is the government going to do anything?
Why is Sweden not doing anything?
Yeah, Sweden's not doing anything. Like we need to know. Like we were like clamoring for like the law to just come down and be like, this is what's happening. But everyone in Sweden's just like, they already said, like, you know, they're suggesting for people to stay home. And we're like, no, we need like definitive answers.
There are so many messages in our group like, when are they freaking taking measures?
Yeah, exactly.
Why aren't they doing anything? Yeah, but the interesting thing is like the numbers, they are like not the best in Sweden, but they're also like looking okay. Like
they're not America.
Their healthcare system is their healthcare system is still able to handle it. The numbers are not exploding at this moment, so it's interesting that it's not like we all thought it's gonna end like in Italy, where like everything explodes and they lose control of everything. But instead, I just got an email today from my gym. People should come to the gym. They have they will not survive if people stop coming there.
Wow.
So, they are literally like begging people to come.
That's insane. That's so crazy. Yeah, that is true. Like so many businesses are being affected during this time. But what's interesting is like, at least in the States, they're like giving like 0 interest loans to like small businesses so they can keep running even though they're not closed, even though they're closed and stuff like that. You would think like in Sweden they would do the same even though they're just suggesting certain things.
I think they do. I think they have 40 billion or something like that euros they're giving away.
Oh, okay.
So that's something.
Good. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Sweden's a very interesting place, very interesting spot. If anybody wants to go visit Sweden, I never went to Stockholm, so I can't really talk about that. But Gothenburg is a very, very awesome place. Especially if you're a little younger. There's a lot of bars, a lot of nightlife. There's a lot of things to do. But what was weird is there's not much of a music scene, I realized. Like, there's Pustervik, but other than that, there's really nothing.
Maybe in summer there's more. I think also like the last 2 weeks, sorry Marco, the city like transformed in some ways that because it got a bit warmer and then more sun. You saw a lot more, like the trees are getting green and or there are these cherry blossoms, and it's looking different. And I can imagine that in summer there are more concerts going on, people are going out more. Maybe there is more going on during summer month, and in winter it's just cold and dark and people stay at home. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, of course, when I leave, that's when things become more bright and happy and cheery. That's the story of my life. But yeah, would you see yourself? Could you see yourself living in Sweden after this experience?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, they have the cheese cutters that you like.
Oh,
so.
The cheese slicer.
The cheese slicer, yeah.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. I think I could imagine myself living here and like getting along in some ways, but at the same time, I mean, why? If there is an opportunity here that I cannot get anywhere else, maybe, but I don't know. I'm not sure how long it takes until you feel like this is your home. Can imagine that it's quite hard to
adjust.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Like, it's a different thing to be here for half a year or even a year and know that you're gonna go back, or to come here and start your life here.
That's true.
What do you think about living in Sweden?
I feel like I could do it, but I just wouldn't have my eyes set on being there permanently. I feel like I could maybe, if I get a job there or something, I could live there for maybe like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and then try to move on to something else professionally, to where I'd be in this place, maybe back in California or in a different country that is a little bit more moderate when it comes to their weather. Because the cold's cool. I mean, I got used to the cold a lot. I mean, I just sent a Snapchat to you guys yesterday saying like, dude, it's only like 26 degrees Celsius here, but I'm dying. Like, I'm sweating so much.
You got used to
hot.
Celsius.
Yeah, I'm trying to convert stuff for you guys. I don't want to be that fucking asshole that's like, 75 Fahrenheit, and then everyone else is like, I don't know what that means. So, but yeah, so I got used to it, but I feel like I would be able to maybe live there for a time, especially if like I already had friends established there, which I kind of do. It depends on where specifically I live in Sweden, but I feel like I could do it. I don't want to become like the dog sled guy that we had in Abisko, where he went there for a girl and he just ended up staying there. And
but he ended up in the northern part of Sweden.
Yeah, and like random the cuts of fucking Sweden. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. But if I have a plan to get in and get out, then but not just indefinitely stay there. But I don't know. It's funny because I tell people about Sweden here that are so like super Americanized, and they're like, "Oh, Sweden sounds like my kind of place." I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know though. I can't really tell for sure. But I want to visit more of Europe now that I've been to Sweden. I feel like I need to branch out more into Europe and see the different cultures, especially hanging out with you guys, like hearing the differences and like the different things to do, like jumping in the river where you live, and like just like, right? Is that what
going back, going down in the stream. That's the best thing. If you come to Switzerland, we have to do that.
What is that like?
Yeah, it's as Basel is a city that has the Rhine, the river, going through the old town.
Yeah,
it's a big river, and you can jump in with a waterproof bag. Everyone has a waterproof bag, and you can jump in on like the upper part of the city, and then like go through the city in the stream for half an hour.
Yeah,
and you see all the old buildings, and you see people sitting there having barbecue, and you go through the city, and then you leave the river half an hour later or earlier if you want to, or if you meet someone, which happens very often, you can go out earlier. And it's just the best thing to do in summer. Like there are hundreds of people that do that every day.
That's crazy.
If you time it well, you have the sunset when you're in the water, and it's just very good. Oh,
that's awesome, man. Yeah, I would love to go to. I want to go to Switzerland super badly. Like, I know our friend group has an idea about meeting up next year for Gothenburg's 400th anniversary. But even if that doesn't happen...
You don't want to go... You want to see other places.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see you guys. Out of everything, I would rather see you guys if I had to choose. But if that doesn't happen, I'll fucking fly from country to country and see everybody. Like, why not? Like, that'd be super cool. There's a lot of places I'd have to go. So, I mean, that'd be really fun. But yeah. Going back to the exchange, though, specifically, make a sales pitch, if you will, to people who are on the fence about doing exchange. Because over here in America, it's not really something that's like super, super common. People think that it's very expensive for them, or like they wouldn't be able to afford it, or that like, you know, there's not really any positives that come of it. Whereas in Europe, it's very like encouraged to go out and like experience other places. So would you be able to try to convince the listeners who are on the fence about doing it for themselves to actually do that? That'd be great.
Yeah, I can try. I think it's so worth doing it just to first get out of your comfort zone. Like you're on your own when you end up in Gothenburg or wherever you end up. You arrive at an airport or a train station, and you just need to figure out how life works in a different place. But at the same time, you meet so many people that are doing the same thing and are like from all over the world, and you start with no like prejudice or no judgment about them, and they usually don't judge you on the first impression. So you get to know a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds that I think that you wouldn't have contact with maybe in your usual setting, just because you're outside of your usual comfort zone, and you need to get to know new people, and you end up with a great group of friends. You end up with having pizza 8 times in 1 week, and doing things you wouldn't like do just for fun at home. And it's also really interesting for me. I don't know about you, but the university here works different than the university where I'm studying in Switzerland.
Yeah, me too.
So it's very interesting to see like the different culture at the university, how they talk about the same-ish topics, or like which perspective they have on these issues. That was really interesting to me to see that. Just a different style of teaching and a different style of looking at things, just from another perspective, I think. Yeah.
Very good salesman. If you don't want to go to study abroad now, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life. But that is really interesting that you talk about like the school itself, because in Sweden they don't do every class at one time, where I believe that may be the case in Switzerland, and that definitely is the case here. They just do every class. You just have your 4 or 5 classes, and you're doing it.
You run from class to class.
Yeah. Whereas in Sweden, it's like you do one class for a month, and then you do the next class for the next month, and so you take like about 4 classes over the course of 4 months, but it's 1 class per month.
Yeah.
What did you prefer?
I prefer the Swedish model, definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't?
No, I can't. Dude, I didn't learn anything.
Yeah, you took a crazy course.
I didn't learn anything. I learned the EU. Literally, I just regurgitated information. I memorized stuff, and then I just, on the exam, just told them exactly what was taught in class and moved on with my life. Like, I didn't learn anything. Whereas here, also, there's a lot more pressure, I feel like, in the Swedish model. At least for me. For me, personally. I don't know about you. Just because, like, in America, they give you a lot more of assignments. So if you do bad on one thing, there's always a chance for you to make it up over time. Yeah. Whereas in Sweden, like, most of the time, you get one exam or you get one essay, and if you don't do well on that, like, they'll give you a chance to, like, make it up and try again. But that just takes more time for me personally. Like, I don't know. I prefer the American way, but yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, that's true. It's just this, you have this one exam or this, but we had some more assignments to do, like, during the course, which were somehow graded. Yeah, they were. But I think it's just cool to focus on one topic for a month, and then you can forget about it. Or you can like move on with other things, and not like have 2 hours every week from 4 to 6 p.m. when you are tired, and then for the exam you have to read through all of the stuff you learned 4 months ago and don't remember.
That's true.
I like that it's like just 1 month and then it's done and you have a different course.
That's true. I mean, there are positives.
If the course is boring, you're screwed. And
one cool thing about the Swedish model is, like, you do have more time for yourself during that month. Like, you have different routines, but generally, since it's just one class for the most part, you're just kind of like you'll have more time to just kind of like not do anything school related. So, which is very positive. It is cool. So I miss that part. I miss living on my own, though. That was the funnest part. Just having my own, just being able to be like, at midnight, I'm just going to go to this club with these people who knocked on my door and woke me up and are like, hey, let's go. And go to Park Lane,
Park Lane, yeah.
God. World famous.
That's another thing. Did you have that? I think in the States it's more common to have these dorms or like big student housings where people... Like a lot of students live in one place. We don't have that in Switzerland.
Really?
Like, not at all. So I never had this experience of living in a house with 60 other students. And it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very common here to have dorms, but they're really expensive in the States. So a lot of people just like live at home and commute into the campus. And that's one interesting thing too about Swedish, at least the school we went to, Gothenburg University. They have like different campuses for the different like universities under the Gothenburg University. Whereas at least here, the college I go to, everything's on one campus, one specific location. So I don't know if that's the same in Switzerland, but
no, we had more of the. Yeah, actually, it differs from city to city. Where I did my bachelor's, we had no campus at all. It was just distributed around the whole city. Yeah. And where I did my master's, there we had a campus, just one big campus.
That's
interesting. And I like having a campus where you have more chances to meet people, or you have places to hang out.
There's more things to do.
And Handels is not a really cozy place. It's like in the middle of the city. It's construction going on everywhere. You don't go there. Yeah, I think you don't
right
go
next
there
door.
Yeah. The building is down now. You don't see anything of that. Building.
Oh, it's completely torn down.
They were so fast. Yeah, it took them like 2 weeks to tear down this building.
God, I remember when they first like started tearing down that building. So at our business building, toward the right of it, if you're standing outside of the building, there was this other older building that they were renovating, but they decided to just tear it down. And nobody knew, at least none of the exchange students knew that construction was going to happen at all. So like I had a class and I walked outside and I just hear this giant crash. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I look and the building just has a giant like claw in it from the fucking bulldozer. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't know what's happening. And then everyone's just walking around like normal. And I was like, God damn. They're just so used to construction there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is the location of the campus is like right next to the Haga, which is really awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
Yeah.
it makes it easy
The
to go
location
get
is very good.
Fika, though. We haven't talked about Fika
that's-
at all.
Oh, let's talk about Fika.
Yeah, before we go, we definitely have to mention Fika. So what is Fika, Jonathan? What
Fika
is
is just having a coffee, eating these kanelbulle, these cinnamon
Yeah.
rolls, and just hang out at a coffee place.
And you do that
every
twice a day.
every afternoon. Yeah, like, but that's the best thing. That's why Swedish people are so friendly, because they hang out with their peers every day in coffee shops.
Yeah. That is the best way. And people that are looking for romance, that's the best way to take somebody on a date. That's the most innocent way to do it, because
Yeah, tell me more.
everyone does it already. So if you're just like, hey, do you want to go get Fika? There's no pressure. Like, yeah, even if you don't even like the person, go get Fika. And for like 30 minutes, just hang out with somebody and leave and never see them again. Like, what's the big deal? Like, I don't know. It's very, that's the best way to ask somebody on a date. Ask them for Fika for sure. I love Fika. I miss it. I try to bring it here,
that was cool.
but it doesn't work. Just doesn't work.
Yeah, and we did that a lot. I really love that. I think we did that every week, twice or two times, 3 times, where we just met after university in a nice cafe, and just be there, have something to eat, just talk to each other,
Yeah.
play some games. It was really really cool.
Yeah. Oh, the games.
Oh, the games, yeah, Marco, the games.
Dude, what was the one? The bean game.
The bean game.
Yeah, the bean game.
Shout out to Anna for the bean game.
Yeah, shout out to Anna. We love the bean game. We played that game a lot. I don't know if I've never seen it here in the States, so I'm going to have to find it and try to like play with my friends. I don't know if I could explain it as well as Anna, but
Maybe not that passionate.
maybe not that passionate. Yeah, I will just let things happen. But yeah, that was a fun game. I miss the game nights and Cafe Olaf's and stuff.
Oh, Cafe Olaf is closed actually.
Is it?
Since 4 weeks or 3 weeks. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I missed that place.
Yeah, that was a good spot. Cafe
was a good
Olaf's was
spot.
this little place in this one housing area for a lot of like international students, where they just have free coffee and tea, and like people will just make random food, and there's just all these board games and these places for people to sit, and you just like hang out with your friends, and you don't have to like, it's totally free. You don't even have to live there to just go and hang out. Like if you're a student, you're fine. It was really crazy. They don't have stuff like that in the States. I wish they did. Everything's for money here. And that's one thing that I really am annoyed with now, coming back, seeing how businesses in at least in Sweden, I don't know about in Europe, but businesses in Sweden, their end goal is to make enough money to like grow. But in America, every business's goal is to make the most money possible, even if it doesn't help society, or even if it doesn't help like their employees, or as long as they're just making the most money. That's the whole goal. I don't know if that's the same goal as in Sweden, where it's like more just about just making enough money to grow enough.
Yeah, I think that's maybe more European.
That's just Europe in general.
I think it's hard to say.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think so. Yeah.
that's one of the main things I miss, because a lot of, at least when I was taking that EU course, like just hearing that there's an EU innovation policy. What? Like in America, I looked into it. We don't have an innovation policy. There's
What
no
does an innovation policy mean?
innovation policy. Okay, well, shit, fuck. Okay,
Now we see if you learn something.
Oh no, well I didn't. But the innovation policy is just EU's, like the EU, like helps certain like countries or regions within those countries, and gives them money so they can like promote innovation within those countries, and they like will give like bonds and like grants to companies that are trying to innovate, and like they try to push for companies to work together instead of compete all the time. Whereas in America, it's constant competition. Like there's some collaboration, but mostly it's just competition between companies. Unless obviously they're like companies that complement one another already. Like
Yeah, klar.
peanut butter and jelly, obviously, it's going to be collaboration there. But like, yeah, in America, the business culture is so much more cutthroat. It's so much more about like getting over on that person before they get over on me. Whereas in Europe, it's like we can work together, you know, to a degree. Like we don't have to always be like at each other's throats. So I miss that a lot. But so maybe I will live in Europe. I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah, maybe you end up here. That would be good.
Yeah, that would be good. I would love that. Would you ever want to come to America? And
yeah, definitely. I don't know if I want to live there, but I will definitely come to the States.
You have to come visit first, and then you can
course.
decide. You might love it. I don't know. You might come here and be like, "This is my place."
In-N-Out. I heard about In-N-Out Burger.
Oh, I talked about that place a lot.
Every week, Marco.
Dude,
I miss In-N-Out Burger.
Dude, I just want it. Oh my god, bro! I told you guys that I probably was annoying, but like I told you guys so many times that I was just like, I wish I could just snap my fingers and have In-N-Out for you guys so you guys can try it.
Yeah, we want to try it now.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
We still talk about it, even if you're gone.
But hey, Max Burgers is good enough for now.
Yeah, we discovered a new burger place today. That was quite good.
Oh, the Bastard Burger?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I heard about that place before I left. I wanted to try it, but oh well. I'll go back one day. I'll conquer the rest of Gothenburg. The money team will rise again. But anyways, man, I think we're at about that time. Is there anything else you want to say before we get on out?
No, thank you for having me. It was really cool. It was also really cool to just see you again for an hour.
Yeah.
It
was awesome to talk.
So many memories we had during these 6-8 weeks.
Dude, yeah.
The moose. We didn't talk about the moose.
Oh, we didn't talk about
the moose. We
met
a moose together
in
Lapland.
Okay, so this is what we'll do. We'll talk about the moose. Yeah, that just means you're going to have to come back on. Oh no, I guess you're going to have to come back on. The moose episode. No, but there'll be other developments. I think it'd be cool to get the European perspective on the whole quarantine situation. I know things are going to develop over there, so it'd be really cool to have you on again.
Sweden will be really bad in a few weeks.
Maybe. I mean, that's what a lot of people over here are predicting because they're not doing anything, but I don't...
Yeah, I heard Trump spoke about Sweden just a few times.
Because he was like, they're not doing anything, so why do we? And it's like, because Americans are so different from Swedes, that's why we can't do it. You're the president, you're supposed to know these things. But anyways. But I guess you just have to come back on. I hope you will be able to soon. And I know that everyone's going to enjoy this episode, and we're just really thankful that you're able to come on. What's your podcast one more time, and where can they find it? What's the Instagram handle?
It's Alles Was Gesund Ist.
Alles Was Gesund Ist.
Yeah. And the Instagram handle is it's just Alles Was Gesund Ist. Just Google it. You will find it everywhere. Everywhere you find your podcasts.
Sweet. When's the next episode coming out? Just so for people.
We just did one 2 days ago, so next Thursday, I think.
Next Thursday. Is that usually when they come out, every Thursday?
Yeah, we started with Thursdays, but we broke it every other week, so we try to stick with Thursdays now, but
cool.
We'll see.
Sweet.
But it's in Swiss German, so yeah. It might be a challenge to understand everything.
Yep. If anybody has any German experience, any German skills, this is a podcast for you. But even if not, my mom listens to it and she doesn't speak German, so you could follow along and just kind of like laugh when they laugh. It's a very enjoyable podcast. Their dialect is very awesome. So, anyways, Jonathan, thank you so much for calling in and hanging out with me for an hour. Hopefully we can do this soon, and I miss you guys, and tell everyone I say hi.
Thank you very much, Marco. You're deeply missed here.
And
I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, man. Take it easy.